If you're a child of the 90s, 80s, and 90s, then I would say this episode is called Lowered Expectations. Lowered Expectations. All right, so I'm a hot mess today because we are packing to leave for Africa. I haven't even put any makeup on, but I'm gonna take a shower before I get on a plane for like 30 hours of travel. So I had to recap week 4 though, so let's go check it out. Okay, so we thought week 4 was gonna be a bust because also nobody was available, but then this happened. Check it out. They got in all the drain lines. So, I was excited. The plumber came, they'll be working next week. He had some family emergencies that had kept him from here, but this is very exciting because we were able to figure out, not we, the plumber, well, Adam actually talked with him too, how to run everything without dropping the ceiling. And that's why we kept this space back here for everything, but he even was able to run down into the basement and cut toilet holes, so whoop whoop. What is not shown is that we brought the bathtub on the week 3 video, took it upstairs to template everything, and you know what happened? It was cracked along the rim. So because we knew we were leaving for 2 weeks, Adam frantically took it back to Home Depot and ordered another one. So that's where that stands. But we've got the schematics for the new one, and it's kind of good that we actually took it out and templated it because it was going to be really hard to fit the drain lines in. Let me make sure this is locked. Yep. Because of where our joists run. So yeah, so it worked out better, and now I'm getting a clawfoot bathtub because amazingly the drains light up better. So that's exciting. So yeah, week 4, not ideal, but there was progress. So I can't say that that was our massive focus because we were trying to get work finished up before we go on vacation to Mauritius for almost 2 weeks. So yeah, short recap, but progress, 4 weeks, and we have some plumbing that doesn't work yet, but it's there. Hoping we come back to a whole lot more. So spoiler, we did not come home to a whole lot more. In fact, I'm actually going to combine our updates for week 4, 5, and 6 because it was very demoralizing how little did get done during that time. Yeah, so what we came home to was a pretty big mess. And I don't mind that so much for a work site, but it had like gone out into the hallways and everything. And frankly, I had just flown 2 days to get home and had to like sweep a path to my bedroom at 10 at night after not sleeping for 2 days. Pissed. Yep, I will admit it. Very pissed. So was Adam. Because the GCs hadn't come behind the subs, and the subs had just tore crap up and let stuff spill into the hallways and hadn't even bothered to sweep up any of the main living spaces. Yeah, we won't say more about it than that, other than I was pretty ticked off. Here are some things that did get done while we were gone. Some of the HVAC got done, but I'll admit, like, it just added to the anger. So like the exhaust fans, aka the fart fans, were not centered. They hadn't bothered to like reframe to get them centered in the rooms. They were just kind of like hanging out. Some electric had gotten done, but there was weirdness in like the position of some of the smoke detectors and things. Now, some of it had to be the way it was because it's an old house and there's joists. But I'll admit, when you haven't slept in 2 days and it's 10 at night and then you have to get up and go to work the next morning and you've traveled across the world, maybe a little bit of expectation setting before we walked into the house would have gone a long way. I will say our GCs were incredibly apologetic the next day when they saw the mess. But again, it could have been avoided. So yeah, 4, 5, and 6 just wasn't great weeks. And then I think the kicker, and I think the thing that was the most demoralizing ever, was the big fact we found out. In our city, despite what we talked about at the beginning, nothing new can be inspected until the final inspection and turned on. And I think that expectation either wasn't fully understood by our GCs because they do work in the county, not the city as often, or maybe we misunderstood. I'm not entirely certain. But what was demoralizing about that is we expected like anything brand new, like the plumbing that was completely redone makes total sense. But when they were doing demo, they yanked a bunch of electric lines instead of leaving them hooked up and moving them to the side out of the way. And maybe they couldn't have done anything differently, but that means that all the existing power that we had can't be inspected until final inspection, which means we have no ceiling fans in the middle of summer, and we have walls open to the outside. So when it's 90 out, it's 80 even with the air conditioning running. It's a whole lot of things like that. We have five outlets in the whole house. So it was a lot. It was a lot to have gone on a vacation that had horrific flights, but beautiful island. I'll show you some scenes of that in a moment. And come back to find out that you are, number one, not much progress. So you're still several weeks out from completion. And not only are you several weeks out, you're getting nothing in the interim. So it was a thing. But yeah, so for recap, you've got here 5 and 6, we were gone and just not a lot happened. It was a thing, but there was a lesson we learned. Expectations. I feel like we were pretty clear about wanting some interim pieces, and in hindsight, there's only 2 permits that can be pulled at any given time for a house. Now they can have all kinds of sub work in them, but maybe we could have pulled another one and had some interim. I don't know. I'm not going to revisit that. But having expectations set, we should have been really clear when we were coming back from vacation and asked them to check and make sure that it was cleaned. You would think that's a no-brainer, but it wasn't. And then knowing how long things were going to take once the schedule started to slip would have been really good to handle those expectations too, because it was just very disappointing. And I had mentioned in our previous video that once your timeline slips, everything slips, and we're still feeling that. Yeah. But on the other hand, some things are moving forward. You know, we're starting to see the HVAC come through. We're starting to see all of those pieces come together, electric, plumbing pieces. So we're getting there, just not in the manner we wanted to. But it's okay. We'll see where week 7 leads us. But in the meantime, enjoy some beautiful travel photos of Mauritius, because that place was fantastic, even if Air France can suck it forever and ever and ever again. Enjoy.